12-year-old Connor Freeman sits in his room, playing Minecraft like usual. He doesn't have many friends at school, so this is his safe space. Little does he know, a player has just joined that's about to change his life forever. This guy's name is Repulsive, and he teaches him how to gain an advantage in the game by exploiting information available on the internet. This is called doxing. Over time, Connor learns about hacker forums like OG Users, and slowly goes from griefing on Minecraft and doxing server owners to more serious cybercrime like ratting and refunding. Then one day, one of his friends shows him their Bitcoin wallet, which at the time had 11 coins. He asks him how the fuck he made all that money, and the friend replies, "Sim swapping. You should tap in." Now most of you probably already know what sim swapping is, but in case you don't, it used to be the easiest way to hack pretty much anyone. If you had enough information about your target, you could just call their phone provider to impersonate them. First, you pretend you lost your phone or that it got stolen. Then you'd ask support to move the number to a blank SIM card, which you can buy on eBay for like $1. Then once they verify all the information, you can just put the SIM card in a burner phone, and now you can reset all their logins with SMS verifications. You could also just walk into one of their stores and convince them to move the SIM manually with a fake ID or by adding yourself as an authorized user on their account. But this was risky, so if you didn't want to risk anything, you could just bribe an employee and they'd move anyone's SIM to your card. Now, Connor's not smart enough to get an insider on his own, but luckily his friend introduces him to his group, which already have one working for them. All Connor needs to do is dox victims to learn their digital footprint, and he's set to make millions with his team.
Runs back to the face like, let me just bun that stuff. 6 G's with allowed in my rucksack. Vacuum so yeah, I done that. Calm, not trying to get back, now fuck that. Had to G-check, man, where your funds at. Fuck the K-breaks, I'm flipping the ton packs. Ain't been in the T with the tugs at, but I still the right one when you run back there.
This is Ricky, and you might think he's broke because of his park cleaner job, but this couldn't be further from the truth. You see, Ricky's second job is being a holder for Connor's group. The holder's job is very simple. All he needs to do is wait until the victim's phone number has been moved to one of his SIM cards, then he puts it in his burner phone, and now he can read out SMS codes for the rest of the team. This is the riskiest job a SIM swapper can have, which is why Ricky now prefers to pay kids on Discord to hold SIM cards for him, pays them a couple $100s from his own cut. And just like that, Connor's group just made $50,000, which they split 4 ways. The circle is really tight. You have Joel, Ricky, Colton, and of course Connor. Now, Connor doesn't really like spending his money. He prefers to let it sit in his wallet and watch it climb like a high score in a video game. But his friends are different. Ricky's bought 2 trucks, a jet ski, and an ATV with his money, and Joel is probably the biggest baller in the comm at this time. He tells him about all the Gucci he's bought since their last hit, but Connor's not really interested. He tells him about the Twitter and Instagram combo he spent $40K on. Still not interested. But then he shows him his new Bitcoin chain.
I didn't really spend much of my money. I spent probably like 150K, I'd say, over the whole time period. I had a Rolex. I don't know if you ever heard of IF & Co, a jewelers, and I think they're based in California. Yeah, they sold Bitcoin chains, but this was back in like 2018. I bought one of those. I had a couple of gold rings with diamonds from IF & Co. My girlfriend at the time lived in the States, so I flew back and forth over there. I spent a lot of money on flights and travel, but that was it. I never really went out clubbing or buying crazy cars or anything. That was never my thing.
Picture this. You're standing in line, bored out of your mind, when your phone suddenly rings. You check it thinking someone's trying to reach you, but no, it's a f***ing advertisement. This is where Aura can help you. All you have to do is sign up for their service, and they'll look up where your information has been traded and prompt you with different ways to take action. The sad part is obviously that it's legal for these companies and data brokers to have your information in the first place, but you can't blame anyone but yourself since you're the one who gave it to them. Now, all hope is not lost yet because Aura and their team of lawyers are willing to throw every different American and European privacy law at them until they basically delete everything they have on you. Now, you could go out of your way to contact these people yourself, but that takes a really long time, and I mean, it's not like you'll ever know if it's all gone unless you use different websites to track whether your information is out there like Aura does. Check this out. If you sign up for Aura using my link in the description, you'll get a 14-day free trial on all their services, which includes a VPN, financial fraud protection to see if anyone's been using your accounts without your knowledge, and even a password manager. Sign up for Aura using my link in the description for a 14-day free trial, and see if your personal information has been leaked online. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video. A 16-year-old boy sits in VC with Connor's group. He's their new caller, and his job is to call up AT&T, pretending to be a worker there. He'll call up the store and convince the employees that he needs their login for whatever reason. What he doesn't know is that his mom is listening in on the conversation. She calls the police, and not long after, federal agents come into his room to have a little chat. Ricky wakes up and checks his Discord. He hasn't heard from that one kid for a few weeks now, and he's growing suspicious.
Trust me, I noticed, and I literally said to Connor, so this guy, we did a big hit. We paid him like 6 figures, which is like obviously the most money that he's ever seen. Disappeared for like weeks. It wasn't just like a couple days. And I was like, hold on. I'm like, Connor, bro, like this guy just disappeared after doing a big hit. Like something's not right. And Connor is like, and then the kid came back and hit us. I didn't respond, but I guess Connor said he talked to him. And Connor's like, no, dude, like I talked to him, everything's cool. We're all good. I'm like, bro, Connor, it is not all good. Like no one does that. They just hit their first lick and then just disappeared for a month. He's like, oh, he went on vacation. I said, and you don't think he told us about this? I was like, dude, there's no way.
Now, unfortunately, Connor believes the kid, and Ricky trusts Connor. So eventually, they'll get back to work, not knowing the kid is secretly working with the FBI. They keep working with him for a few more weeks, and Connor ends up hitting his biggest target yet, an investor with $5 million. He's now worth around 160 bitcoins, not far from his original goal, but there's something else going on. He's starting to feel guilty. So for now, he decides to semi-retire, try and figure his life out. He takes the next flight to see his girlfriend in Wisconsin and stays there for a few months. This is Joel, and he just finished a whole month of partying in LA to celebrate his friend's birthday. Paid $150,000 just for the Airbnb. Now he's headed to Belgium to party some more, carrying $250,000 in his bag and a ledger with another $300. Right after passing through security, 2 officers approach him, ask him to step aside.
High school valedictorian is now being accused of leading a double life.
Flowers say Joel Ortiz stole nearly $2 million.
They're dumping $1,500 bottles of champagne over $50,000 watches at a Las Vegas nightclub. Also $10,000 spent on Gucci clothing, $150,000 for a month-long Airbnb in Los Angeles.
Connor and his friends realize they're completely fucked. Joel was only arrested because he was leaving the country and the feds were scared he wouldn't return. They're probably investigating all of them already, and they might know Connor has a return flight home in just 3 days. Connor arrives at the airport, checks in his luggage, and gets ready to go through security. He makes it through safely. He stops sleeping at night and only goes to bed in the morning. Most raids happen in the early hours, so only then he feels safe enough to go to sleep. Now, the first night in jail is always the hardest, but for Connor it's especially scary when he finds out there's a chance he might be extradited to the US, facing a maximum penalty of 108 years. He and his lawyer negotiate with the Irish court, and he agrees to plead guilty and to give up all his stolen funds, now worth around $2 million. In exchange, Ireland decides to take responsibility for one of their own, and Connor is sentenced to 2 years and 11 months in an Irish prison. On the other side of the world, Ricky, Colton, and their friends are all facing similar sentences. They all give up their stolen Bitcoin. Everyone except Joel. There's more than $1 million missing from his cut, and no one can figure out where it is. Authorities think he's hiding it. Since he's the first SIM swapper ever to be arrested, the judge decides to make an example of him and gives him 10 years.
Blow bands, blow bands. Blow bands, blow bands, blow bands. Check my pants, they say